Got the pen and the paper in your hand. Got the story going, but you wanted to expand. We'll help you on your journey, let us lend you a hand. Join the show. So let's write the book TV show. Grab your pen and paper and we're gonna let it flow. Talking about write the book TV. Join the show.
Welcome to Write the Book TV. I'm your host, Kimberly LeBou. We have an excellent show planned for you today. Each week, we show up here interviewing amazing authors and experts to talk about all things writing and publishing. So if you're thinking about writing a book or you know someone else who should be writing a book, grab them and bring them over to Write the Book TV so we can help them level up their journey to being a published author. Our amazing guest today is Dr. Jiajoyce Conway. She is the senior pastor of Anointed Touch Ministries Outreach Center in York, PA, where she co-pastors with her husband. She is a published author, an educator, a certified Christian life coach, and mentor. She is currently a practicing doctor of clinical advanced practice for over 20 years. And above all else, she is a survivor. Welcome to the show, Dr. Gia.
Hello, Miss Kimberly. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes.
First of all, I'm so excited to be here. And third of all, fourth of all, fifth of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
I am beyond excited for you. So excited for you.
Thank you. I'm excited for us to be able to sit here and have this conversation.
Yes,
First of all, you look amazing.
Thank
As
you.
always, I love the dress. It's
much.
so gorgeous.
When you told me the background, I was like, I got to figure out how to bring the background to life.
Well, you did an excellent job, sis.
Thank
you
you.
look amazing.
Thank you.
So you are the author of several titles. I had the pleasure of working with you on one of the books, Set Apart and Chosen. God uses ordinary women to do extraordinary things.
Yes.
And that was such a phenomenal project. And I so enjoyed working with you on that. And so we might talk a little bit more about that. But I also want you to share some of your solo projects, because that one was an anthology that we worked on together. But I know that you have several other titles. I know Change from the Inside Out and The Epitome of a Woman, which I love the cover of that book. But tell us about your other titles.
So first and foremost, I want everybody to know that in my solo title, my very first title, Change from the Inside Out, which pretty much was the launching pad for my women's ministry. But it's important for me to let others know and the viewers to know that it was because of you that I felt even confident to release that book, because it was personal. It was like putting my life on blast, but for the world. It was an authentic work. It was a transparent work. And, oftentimes people are like, why are you putting your business in the street and this, that, and the other? But my thing is this, what I believe is that when you're called to bring change, and not that I necessarily knew at that time, I just knew that the change I wanted to see started with me. And so when I first talked to you, met with you, you said to me, it's your truth. It's your truth. And whatever people think about that, what they feel about that, it's your truth. And people can't change your truth, whether they own their part in it, whether they accept that they had a role in for you becoming the best thing that they thought you were not going to be. Right. It's my truth. And so I want to thank you, because once you do it, it's like trying to learn how to ride a bike. Once you get on that bike, no matter how many years between learning and getting back on it, you never forget it. And if it takes you years from your first title to your second, it's there. Yeah. And so thank you for allowing me to feel confident enough and being in a space to be honest, in a space to be me, crying, screaming, whatever it may have been. I just thank you for allowing a safe space. Because when you write your truth, when you write about some things that you've toiled over before the Lord, that you've cried in your secret place, that you're like, listen, this some ugly tears. This not, no, I'm cute and this, my lashes is going to be on the floor when I get up kind of tears. When you have that release and somebody allows you to say, you know what, it is okay. And I'm not saying you necessarily gave me permission, but you gave me permission. And I appreciate that for you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for that. And so Change from the Inside Out was my debut book about just transformation in my life, things that I had been through, endured, was standing through. And even at this age of 46, still am reminded. I never want to forget where I came from because it keeps me humble in where I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was absolutely revelational for me.
Yeah.
It really was. It showed me so many things about me, about people, trust, survivorship.
Yeah. And so let's park right there for a second, because you said something about how personal this was for you, sharing that story. And I know a lot of times people are afraid to write about their truth. But there's a way to do it, right? There's a way to write without bleeding all over the page, right? There's a way to write your truth, and stand in that, even though the story involves other people. And so that's one of the things that we, work with people on, is how to tell that story in a way that honors you and not necessarily destroys everyone in the path, right? But I want to know what it was like for you to write about things so personal. Like, what did that writing journey look like for you?
It was hard because, first of all, before I even wrote the book was sitting on my shelf. Like, the content was there and it was just sitting there. And I can remember the day that I picked up pen to paper. I can remember that I did it because God said to me, if you never open your mouth, no one will ever know how glorious I am. So it wasn't about Gia at that moment. And to be honest, at this point in my life, it's never about me. But it's about God being glorified. Because I couldn't have gotten through it without him reminding me that, one, you're free. You are writing from a place of freedom. Not from a place of bondage, not from a place of being somebody's victim, has been, would have been, should have been, but this is a release of freedom. But it didn't come without tears. It didn't come out without a struggle, some balled up paper, so I'm not doing this. Because you're facing, even though I was free, I was still facing some things that were painful. I was still facing some things that caused me to realize that I had to overcome some things that I never saw myself having to overcome. You see it in the lives of other people. You see others going through it. You've talked them off the ledge. You've brought them through those dark spaces. But when it's you, it's different. It was personal. It was private. It was painful. And I got through it, every tear, every place of frustration, every place of anger that it brought back up. Because for those that don't know, the personal part of it was because it was about abuse and rape and mistrust and those things that violated me as a woman. So to feel and have to do that all again, I'm like, God, are you serious? I gotta put all this business out here. And Kimberly, you said learning to write where it doesn't necessarily bleed all over other people. And that was the beauty in it. For as much as it told the story of what I went through, it didn't empower my offenders.
But it empowered the people that it was supposed to impact.
Absolutely.
That is so, so beautiful. I just think writing, one of my favorite sayings is there is healing through writing.
Yes, ma'am.
There is healing through writing. So even though you went through all the blood, the sweat, the tears, like you were healing while you were writing through that, and gave you your own self a sense of freedom. So freeing not only yourself but other people. So that's just such a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It taught me the power of forgiveness. It taught me the power of forgiveness. You don't forget, but true liberation comes through the birth canal of forgiveness.
Absolutely. So my own personal writing journey all started with forgiveness.
Yourself and others.
Other people.
That's the greatest power ever. Ever.
So good. What about the epitome of a woman? What was that about?
The epitome of a woman. So As a woman that loves to study the Word of God, there are 132 unique women in the Bible. However, I did not write about 132 women, but God laid on my heart to pull out 16 distinct women of the Bible and bring them to her story now.
Okay.
We think of, obviously, the Bible is this wonderful history, but what God revealed to me was oftentimes we don't, or we feel like we can't relate to that history because what does it have to do with my right now? But we know that nothing is new. We're not going through anything new.
Right.
It's just a different dispensation of time. And so what I did in the epitome of the woman, I took 15 women of the Bible because the 16th woman is you. But the 15 women of the Bible, I pulled out so that we could relate to Eve's pain of being taught between knowing what was right and what was wrong, the ultimate betrayal. We looked at Sarah's decision as to, I'm too old to birth anything, but how God is not a respecter of person's age, gender, color, geography. He doesn't care, but he'll birth what he's put on the inside of us. So I took these women and walked us through, where do you see yourself? And the beauty of this text is that it's a journal. So it allows, at the end of each chapter, there's questions that make us go back and think, I have been her. I have been Eve. I have been Sarah. I have been Hagar in my wilderness seasons, feeling alone, destitute, not wanted. I have felt like Deborah, empowered, but yet so alone. So it forces us to have to really look at, one, who we are right now, but also understand that God sees his daughters through a lens of evolution. That it's not a period because it was in the Bible and we think it's a finished work. It's a continuum. That the same things that he did through these amazing women, he's doing through us now. So that no woman ever has to feel like she's not enough. That what God did with them, and that was good because it was them.
Right.
That he can't do it with us because we are us. But to understand that we are God's epitome of a woman. And the epitome of a woman is a woman that knows no boundaries. She's bold. She hurts, but she pushes. She loves hard. She loves long. She perseveres. She's intimate. She's an introvert. She's an extrovert. She's you. She's me.
Wow. That is so beautiful. Those books sound amazing. They are amazing. What about, so when you started on your writing journey, what was it that you wanted people who read your books to glean from it? What is the impact? Because you've continued to write. You started with Change from the Inside Out and you continue to write, which usually happens. We all usually get bitten by the writing bug, right? We always can't imagine how we're ever going to become a writer, but then once we start, we keep going. But what is the impact that you want your books to have on the readers?
Usually my audience is women, but I've had men read my book, and that blesses my heart in itself because I feel like they get a different perspective of womanhood and sisterhood when they read them. But my focus is always empowerment, esteem, and self-love. I always want the reader to glean through my text that they're seeing that no matter what, don't stop. Don't stop. No matter what, you're worthy to be loved. You are loved. And the filth and the scum of life doesn't disqualify us because the beauty about God that we love is that he exchanges those ashes with beauty. And so I always want women, men, children, whomever it touches, to always come to a knowing that I went through it, and the beauty of it is I didn't stay through it. I went through it. Some things changed. I grew up a little bit, and we may even still be working through some things, but at least you come to a knowing to be willing to face you. Change can only really and truly ensue when we're really ready to face the man or woman in the mirror. And that's not always pretty, and that's not always easy. And as a coach, one of the things that I always teach my clients is, I said, I don't know where your mirrors are in your house. I said, but if you have one, I want you to put it by the exit hallway of when you leave your house. Because I want you to always to be able to stop by and look at the woman or man that you see and tell her, I love you.
Oh,
So that if nobody else says that to you the rest of the day, you've said it to you. Do you know that is one of the hardest things for people to do?
yeah. I'm
To
sure.
look in the mirror and say, I love me.
Yeah.
And mean it.
Yeah.
Not just let it be something we just doing because my coach said do it, but you feel that thing through and through. And it ought to stir up something, especially when you say it for the first time and it hits different. Then I said it the first few times. All right, she told me to do it, so I'm going to just do it. But when you get it that fifth time and you feel the grace of God attached to that, it ought to fall differently. It ought to make something well up on the inside of you that makes you backtrack and say, oh, I do love me.
Yeah.
I love this
That's
girl.
good. That's really good. I remember doing exercises with when I mentored teenage girls, and we did that mirror exercise, and a lot of them couldn't look in the mirror and say, I love me. And so to hear you talk about it from a grown woman's perspective, that there are still a lot of people who cannot. So I'm grateful that you've continued to write, because your purpose is far and wide and reaching and impactful. So I'm grateful. So keep writing, keep writing.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. You'll be hearing from me this year.
So I want to ask you just some lighthearted things now about your journey as a writer, because we want to impact the people watching the show and who might be contemplating writing. So just a couple quick questions. So what is your favorite place to write?
Favorite place to write is outside.
Oh, outside.
I'm a July baby, so the heat doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I don't like cold.
Me either.
But I like to be outside. I feel like it's so inspirational. It's so freeing. It's just something about being in the element and being in the element of God. It just allows a freedom to flow. I don't feel pressured. I don't feel like, oh my God, where is it coming? Where is it coming?
Yeah.
I just start with a word and I let it go.
Yeah.
I let it go.
That's good. What is the most difficult part about writing for you?
Bringing those words to full fruition.
Yeah.
You start out with a theme in your head and your direction and what you want to say, but I promise you it never ends up that way, and I'm sure you know that. But it's really making sure that you allow the liberty and freedom of what you want to say to impact the person the right way. And so I always want to write from a perspective that that I'm not afraid for people to see my humanity.
Oh, that's good.
Right? We all carry many titles, and we are people-driven, a title-driven society.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But when we strip back the titles, we all cut and bleed the same.
Same way.
And so the hardest part about writing for me is making sure that I let people see that we cut and bleed the same. That my titles don't make me better than you. My titles don't mean I'm different. My titles, it just means I've done some different achievements and walks in my life. But until you know my story, don't judge my glory.
I love that. A favorite beverage that you like to have when you're writing?
My Hello Water.
Oh, you said that right away. A Hello Water. Hello Water.
Yes, because Hello Water comes in different flavors. And it has different themes. They have dance, they have sing, they have love, they have sunshine. So I love my Hello Water. Because I never know what I'm going to pull out the box that day.
That's so awesome. Okay, so we're wrapping up. So I want to know from you if you can leave a piece of advice for our viewers, somebody who may be watching and may be considering sharing their story, and they may be struggling like you did in the beginning, wondering, how do I do this? Can I really share my truth? What would you say to that person who might be watching today?
I would say to that person who's watching, even if you have to write through tears, let your tears be the rivers that carry you to your freedom.
Wow. That's good.
Don't worry about what others are going to say, what others are going to think. Just release.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it all, what we write will be timeless. Whether one person reads it, 1,000 people read it, it's going to breed a change. And that biggest change is going to be with you, because you're no longer carrying what I call the overage of your luggage. Southwest charges an overage if you pay too much, right?
They sure do.
Release yourself from the
Yeah.
extra charges. Carry only what you need, only what you feel light in, but allow your tears to be the rivers to your freedom.
That's
Just right.
beautiful.
No pressure,
Yeah.
just right. One page at a time. What I've learned, because time is a commodity for me these days, is that if you commit to even just 2 pages a day, by the time you get to 3 months, full book. All you have to do is say, Miss Kimberly, LaBoo Publishing.
Ready to go,
Ready
right?
to go. That's what you have to do.
I love it.
Don't worry about correcting it. Don't worry
That's
about
right.
just right.
I always tell people, don't try to write your second draft first.
We try to spell correct. We try to spell check.
Everything.
Just right.
Just
And
right.
I never let a moment pass. If God drops a thought, I voice record it wherever I am, because I just believe that when God inspires, He speaks all the time.
Absolutely.
All the
And
time.
through everything.
And through
Yeah.
everything. And everything.
This has been so great.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much
You are
for being
welcome.
here.
Thank you.
Yes, I know that you are as much of a blessing to our viewers as you have been to me. So thank you so much for stopping by. I've enjoyed having you here. And to our viewing audience, thank you for joining us for another segment of Write the Book TV. Be sure to head over to www.writethebooktv.com if you have questions about writing or publishing, and we'll try to answer some of your questions live on TV. So join us next week for another segment of Write the Book TV. Take care.
So let's write the book TV show. Grab your pen and paper